G'day, it's Patrick from the Matrix English team here. What I'm going to talk to you about today is scaffolding drills. Scaffolding drills are an excellent way to prepare for your exams, whether you have the HSC next week or your Year 9 yearlies. They're good for any student of English. A scaffolding drill is where you plan out your entire essay to a timed condition, so a 10-minute timer. If you think about it, an essay involves an introduction where you introduce your ideas, a body where you elaborate on these ideas and support them with evidence, and then a conclusion when you summarize everything together. A scaffolding drill is a way of practicing those planning skills against a clock, so you simulate exam conditions. When you're doing a scaffolding drill, what you want to be doing is planning out and writing your entire introduction. This means writing out your thesis statement, introducing your themes and ideas that will support your thesis in a thematic framework, and then writing a module statement or a linking statement that connects these ideas to the mode of study you've done in the classroom. Maybe this is for the common module for Year 12, or maybe you've been looking at Gothic poetry for Year 10 English. You want to have a connecting statement that outlines how what you've discussed in the thesis and the thematic framework connects to this mode of study. Then you want to plan out your body paragraphs. This involves not writing out the complete body paragraph, but rather just writing your topic sentences out for each idea. This way you have the signposting in place and the scaffold of what your actual final essay will look like. To help you understand how to undertake a scaffolding exercise to get the most out of it, what we'll do now is take a look at an example. The example I'm going to use is from the 2019 HSC Paper 1 Common Module section. We'll look at the question for the crucible. The crucible question was challenging because it asked an unexpected theme from students, but it also asked for personal engagement. The question is, to what extent does the exploration of human experience in the crucible invite you to reconsider your understanding of love? To be able to scaffold a response to this question, first we need to unpack it. So let's look at it in its component parts. First, this is a to what extent question. To what extent questions ask you to appraise your opinion on the question as if it's to a large extent or to a little extent. One of the things you want to avoid trying to say in your response, though, is I strongly agree or strongly disagree. This lacks elegance and this lacks nuance. Instead, try and incorporate that meaning into your thesis. Then you want to start discussing the second part of the question, which is asking you to think about human experiences. If you're studying Year 11 or 12, you will understand that this question is asking you to think about how human experiences are represented by composers. That is, how are emotions represented, how are relationships between individuals and the community represented by composers. Human experiences are complex things, so you would need to explain in your response what human experiences you're going to discuss. Now, this question is very specific about one human emotion, and that's love, which we'll come to in a moment. In addition, this question is asking you to give something of a personal response. It's asking you to think about how your understanding has been affected by engaging with this text. This means you need to think about what opinions you had on love and on human relationships and on human experiences before you started engaging with the text, and then how the composer's representations of these human relationships has changed your understanding of that key emotion as you've gone along. You then need to try and incorporate this into your response, beginning with your introduction. Finally, you need to explore what the key idea of the question is. The central theme of this question is love. This is quite a challenging emotion to try and grapple with for this particular text. The Crucible is, after all, a text about a small town in America in the 17th century which tore itself apart over accusations of witchcraft and has a relationship between a grown man and a 16-year-old maidservant at its heart. So this is a question where love doesn't necessarily seem like the central emotion or the central human experience that's at the heart of it. This is why it's a challenging question. To overcome this, what you want to do in your thesis, and then what you want to do in your thematic framework, is unpack the different ways love can be viewed and how love could be considered in a different light that would make sense within the text, both positively and negatively. And that's what we'll look at when we start unpacking the question in more detail and putting together some responses. Okay, first what we're going to do is put together a thesis statement. So what we have as a thesis statement is love is a multifaceted and universal human emotion sought after by all of us. Arthur Miller's tragedy, The Crucible, is a powerful depiction of a town turning against itself that compels us to reevaluate love and what we will do in pursuit of it or driven by it. This is what we call a double-barreled thesis statement. It has 2 sentences in it. The first sentence introduces the broad ideas that respond to the question. The second sentence drills into the details of what the question is asking us to explore. By following this approach, you are able to introduce more nuance into your response and also frame out what you're going to discuss in detail later on in your essay. We're going to follow up our thesis statement with a thematic framework. This is where we're going to introduce the themes or ideas that support our thesis statement. In this thematic framework, we're going to be discussing the 3 different ways in which love operates in the crucible that make us reconsider our initial understanding of it. So, our 3 different ideas around love are: Miller illustrates the paradox of how good intentions, driven by love, can lead to tragedy as Elizabeth and Hale's actions cause harm, not good. Elizabeth and Hale act out of good intentions, but ultimately their decisions and their actions have negative consequences for the people in Salem. The second idea: in contrast, Miller explores how hypocritical actions pursued under the veneer of love are often driven by anger or avarice, as Abigail and Paris's actions divide and devastate the town. The actions undertaken by Abigail and Paris, out of pride and out of desire, but under the auspices of being done for love, drive the town to tear itself apart. Finally, however, ultimately, the way the remains of the community tries to rally around the individuals facing down Danforth's corrupt court reveals how love is a powerful unifying force. We're finishing on a positive note here. We want to discuss how love is unifying, and love is something that can bring people together and help them find salvation or happiness in troubling times. The final part of our introduction needs to be a linking statement or a module statement. Remember, this is where you want to connect what you've argued to the way you studied the texts. If you're in year 11 or 12, this means studying it to a module. If you're in a younger year in high school, this will mean studying it in a particular mode. That is, perhaps you're investigating Gothic literature, so you'd have to have a statement that connects that mode of study to what you've argued in your response. What we've chosen to run with here for our linking statement is: viewing and engaging with powerful literary works forces us to reflect on what makes us human and reevaluate what we know about key human emotions such as love. This final statement connects everything that we've discussed that precedes it. We've discussed the key theme of love, but we've also connected it to our module of study and kept an eye on the question. A scaffolding drill wouldn't be complete unless you have topic sentences that elaborate on the ideas that you've introduced in your introduction. You want to ensure that you write draft topic sentences when you do scaffolding drills, because this will get you into the habit of planning out your topic sentences when you're under exam conditions. Let's look at some example topic sentences that we've put together to support our argument from our introduction. Topic sentence 1. Good intentions motivated by love can have paradoxically negative outcomes. Topic sentence 2. Individuals will act under the charade of love, but their true emotional motivations can have divisive consequences. Topic sentence 3. Love is strongest as a unifying emotion as individuals and communities rally behind and support one another. As you can see, these 3 ideas support the arguments that we've put forth in our introduction and develop a sustained argument, the gold standard of any good essay. In this video, we've talked you through what scaffolding drills are and how they will make you a better English student and give you more confidence under exam conditions. If you have 10 minutes spare, you have 10 minutes where you can practice your English essay writing skills, and this will pay dividends when you're in the exam room under exam conditions. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've taken away some new skills, and this will give you more confidence when you're studying English. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell button, and in the comments below tell us what you'd like to see in future videos from the Matrix team. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. See you next time. Bye.